We live in a world where noise is glorified. People shout their plans from the rooftops before they've taken the first step. They seek validation, applause, and recognition long before results arrive. But understand, this true achievement does not require a crowd. It requires quiet focus. The strongest minds are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who work in silence, letting discipline guide them, and results speak for them. When you keep your moves private, you protect them from doubt, from distraction, from the energy of others who may not believe in your vision. What you are building is sacred. It deserves your undivided attention, not public discussion. Silence sharpens your focus. It allows you to concentrate your energy, your emotion, and your will toward execution, not explanation. You do not owe anyone an explanation. Not yet. Let them see when it's done. Let them wonder how you did it. Let your success become the only announcement you ever need. Every moment you spend talking about what you will do is a moment stolen from what you could be doing. You don't need permission. You don't need praise. What you need is persistence in private. Quiet progress, steady growth, relentless effort away from the spotlight. And when the time is right, when the results are undeniable, your work will speak so loudly that the world won't be able to ignore you. Until then, be silent, move in secret, win in silence. Silence is more than the absence of sound. It is a strategic decision, a powerful form of self-discipline, and a guardian of dreams. When you keep your vision to yourself, you shield it from the influence of voices that do not understand its depth. You protect it from those who would question your ambition, not because they are evil or malicious, but because they are limited in their own thinking. People see the world not as it is, but as they are. So when you speak of your vision too early, you invite perspectives that may be laced with fear, insecurity, or disbelief. And if you're not careful, those perspectives can infect your own mind, slowly eroding your belief in what's possible. Every great idea begins as a fragile thought. It's a spark, a flicker of something powerful yet not fully formed. In its earliest stages, your vision is vulnerable. It has not yet gathered momentum, not yet built the foundation it needs to endure the weight of criticism. If you speak too soon, if you share your dream before it has had time to grow roots in your spirit, you risk allowing the winds of doubt to blow it away. People will tell you it's impossible, not because it is, but because they can't imagine doing it themselves. Their words may sound logical, even caring, but beneath the surface is fear, the fear of you becoming something more than you are now. There is safety in silence. When you hold your vision close, you give it the space to mature. You give yourself the opportunity to align your thoughts and actions without distraction. You eliminate the noise that comes with too many opinions, too much input, too much interference. You remain in control of your emotional and mental space, where belief must first take root before any real progress can occur. Silence allows you to focus, and focus is the fuel that transforms dreams into reality. Consider how easily an idea can be derailed. One dismissive comment, one raised eyebrow, one sarcastic remark. These are often all it takes to plant a seed of doubt. You may find yourself questioning, hesitating, wondering if perhaps you were aiming too high. This is how dreams die, not in moments of great failure, but in tiny moments of hesitation. But when you remain silent, when you commit to building without broadcasting, you protect yourself from that subtle erosion. You move forward undeterred, shielded by your own resolve. Your vision is a sacred thing. It was given to you, and only you, in its exact form. No one else has your perspective, your drive, your experiences, your internal fire. So how could they possibly understand the full picture of what you're aiming for? How could they know the depth of your commitment, or the lengths you're willing to go to bring it to life? They can't. And because they can't, their input, however well-meaning, has the potential to distort your clarity. When you are silent, you avoid this trap entirely. Furthermore, silence keeps your energy concentrated. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, you release the emotional charge behind the action. You feel the reward of having spoken it, but without the satisfaction of having done it. It tricks the brain into believing you've accomplished something when all you've done is announce your intention. But when you say nothing, and instead use that energy to take quiet, deliberate steps, you feed your vision. You nurture it with action instead of words. You build momentum that no one sees, and that invisibility becomes your advantage. In silence, there is freedom. Freedom from judgment, freedom from comparison, freedom from needing approval or applause. You operate in your own lane, on your own time, following your own path. You don't have to explain your process. You don't have to justify your decisions. You don't need to convince anyone that you're serious. You just work. You rise early, stay late, and push forward when no one is watching. And because no one is watching, there is less pressure, less performance, and more authenticity in your effort. And eventually, the results will speak. The silence that once protected your vision will then amplify your victory. People will see what you've done and wonder how you did it. They will be curious, maybe even inspired, but by then it will be too late for doubt to touch you. You will have already arrived. You will have already built the thing they said was too big, too bold, too unrealistic. And when they ask, you won't need to explain how. The work will speak for itself. Your silence will have become the roar. So when you have a vision, hold it tight. Keep it close. Let it live inside you until it is strong enough to walk in the world on its own. Protect it from the outside until it becomes undeniable. Talk less, do more, trust the silence. Let it be your shield, your sanctuary, and your secret weapon, because in that silence lies the power to turn your private vision into a public triumph. Energy is one of the most precious resources you have. It determines how much you can create, how far you can go, and how long you can endure. The way you spend your energy decides the future you build. But there's a quiet trap that steals this resource from under your nose, a subtle thief that doesn't look like a threat talking. Talking about your goals, talking about your plans, talking about what you're going to do instead of just doing it. The more you talk, the more you leak energy. The more you leak energy, the less you have for action. And it is action, not conversation, that builds dreams. When you speak endlessly about what you intend to do, you get a temporary sense of satisfaction. It feels like progress, but it isn't. That momentary high of sharing your ideas, explaining your vision, laying out your ambitions, it creates a false sense of accomplishment. It tricks the mind into thinking something has already been done, but nothing has been done. There is no finished product, no result, no victory, only words, only the illusion of movement. That illusion is dangerous. It can keep you stuck for months, even years. You become someone who talks about big things, but does not do them. And slowly, the people around you start to see through it. Your words lose power. Your credibility shrinks. And deep down, you begin to lose confidence in yourself. Not because you're incapable, but because your energy was spent in the wrong place. It was wasted in explanation instead of invested in execution. Talking is easy. It requires no sacrifice, no discipline, no commitment. You can talk about changing your life while staying exactly the same. You can talk about building something great while making no progress at all. But when you shift your focus to doing, everything changes. Doing demands your full presence. It requires sweat, effort, risk, and courage. It makes you uncomfortable. It stretches you. But it also rewards you. Doing is where real growth lies. It's where results happen. And it's where your energy belongs. Every minute spent explaining your plans is a minute you could have used to advance them. That same time could have been spent learning, building, refining, creating. Time and energy are currency. You have to spend them wisely. The person who quietly puts in the work will always outperform the one who constantly announces what they're going to do. The world rewards execution, not declarations. Silence paired with relentless effort is a formula for transformation. There's something incredibly powerful about working in the dark. No one sees your struggle. No one watches your process, but one day they see your results, and they have no idea how you did it. That's because while others were busy talking, you were investing every ounce of your energy into the work. You were mastering your craft, refining your path, and doing the hard things consistently. You have to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Energy is the fuel for every dream you have. It's the power behind every breakthrough, every step forward, every act of discipline. When you allow that energy to be wasted on idle talk, you weaken the force that could have carried you to something incredible. You'll notice that the most successful people rarely talk about what they're going to do. They simply do it. They're not interested in impressing others with their plans. They're focused on building. They've learned the truth. Talk doesn't move the needle, work does. If you want to separate yourself from the average, stop acting like them. Stop oversharing. Stop seeking approval. Stop announcing your next move. Instead, put your head down. Focus. Channel every drop of your energy into action. People may ask what you're working on. Let them wonder. People may question why you're so quiet. Let them guess. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe your vision your full effort. Talking about your goals doesn't make them real. Only daily, disciplined action does that. Even internally, you need to be careful. The conversations you have with yourself matter. If you constantly talk about what you'll do one day, but never take steps today, you're building a habit of delay. You're training your mind to live in the illusion of tomorrow instead of the reality of now. Stop rehearsing your future out loud and start building it in silence. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. Power often moves in silence. Think of a seed in the ground. No one sees it breaking through the soil. No one hears the roots forming, but eventually it breaks through the surface, strong and undeniable. That's what happens when you keep your energy focused on doing instead of talking. You grow beneath the surface, quietly, relentlessly, until your work becomes impossible to ignore. And here's the truth. The people who are truly serious about growth don't have time to talk much about it. They're too busy living it. They wake up early, stay focused, put in the reps, and push through resistance. They don't have the energy to waste on endless conversations. Their actions are their statements. Their consistency is their message. You have a choice every single day to talk about it or to be about it. One path leads to mediocrity. The other leads to mastery. Don't confuse popularity with purpose. The goal isn't to impress people with words. The goal is to build something that lasts. Something that speaks for itself. Something that changes your life and the lives of others. So be ruthless about where your energy goes. Guard it like treasure. Pour it into what matters most. Stop giving your dreams away in casual conversations. Stop feeding your ego with empty words. Let your results do the talking. Let your progress tell your story. No one remembers what you said you would do. They remember what you actually did. Working in silence is one of the greatest teachers of discipline and inner strength. It strips away the need for validation, removes the distractions of applause or criticism, and places your focus squarely on the work itself. In a world obsessed with showing progress rather than making it, choosing to operate in silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is a declaration that your purpose is bigger than performance, that your commitment runs deeper than attention, that your strength comes from within, not from the noise around you. Silence tests you. When no one is watching, when no one is cheering you on, when no one is giving you praise, will you still show up? Will you still keep going when the only person who knows your effort is you? That's where discipline is born. That's where it's forged. In the quiet hours, in the moments when giving up is easy, in the absence of external motivation. It's in those moments you either build yourself or betray yourself. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It is steady, quiet, and consistent. It's not driven by moods, emotions, or circumstances. It is a commitment made in silence and kept in silence. When you choose to work in silence, you are choosing the path of internal accountability. You are telling yourself, I don't need someone watching to do what needs to be done. I don't need applause to keep going. I don't need a spotlight to stay consistent. That mindset, cultivated over time, builds a type of strength no one can take from you. There is something sacred about putting your head down and committing to the process without a need to document every step, every early morning, every late night, every hard choice, every sacrifice you make in silence becomes part of your foundation. You're not doing it for likes or validation, you're doing it for mastery. You're doing it for the person you are becoming. And that is a far more powerful motivation than attention will ever be. Working in silence also sharpens your focus. It removes the mental clutter that comes from constantly thinking about how things appear. Instead, you concentrate solely on the task in front of you. That depth of focus leads to better work. It leads to stronger results. It allows you to stay in the zone longer, to push past resistance, and to refine your process without interference. The more time you spend in that focused silence, the more you develop the discipline to stay locked in. No matter what distractions try to pull you away, there is a quiet strength in choosing privacy. In a world that constantly urges you to share, post, announce, and display every thought, plan, and move, choosing to stay private feels almost like rebellion. But it is not rebellion, it is wisdom, it is protection, it is strategy. Privacy isn't about hiding. It's about preserving your energy, your focus, and your mental clarity. It's about recognizing that some things grow best in silence, away from the noise, away from unnecessary influence, and away from premature judgment. When you keep your goals, plans, and personal growth private, you create space. Space to think clearly, space to make decisions without outside pressure, space to evolve without explanation. That space is sacred, because it allows you to remain connected to your own inner compass, not the opinions or expectations of others. Without that space, your mind becomes cluttered not just with your own thoughts, but with the voices of everyone watching, commenting, suggesting, and sometimes doubting. And in that noise, clarity is lost. Mental clarity is not something you stumble upon. It is something you protect. It is something you earn by choosing what to allow into your world and what to keep out. Privacy allows you to filter the input. It gives you room to listen to yourself. When you're not performing for others, you become more honest with your intentions. You ask yourself better questions. You hear your own truth more clearly. That internal clarity is the foundation for strong decisions, focused effort, and sustained progress. Power grows in quiet, not in secrecy driven by fear, but in intentional solitude. When you don't feel the need to broadcast your every move, you free yourself from the burden of being understood too soon. You give your ideas time to develop. You give your goals time to take root. And when you finally do show up with results of Bosa, that's power not from being seen early, but from showing up prepared and unstoppable. The moment you speak about your intentions publicly, you begin to split your energy. Part of you is now managing how people perceive your journey. Whether you realize it or not, you're now in a relationship with their expectations. That relationship takes energy. It introduces pressure. It clouds your focus. But when you stay private, all of that is removed. You work only for yourself. You move at your pace. You make adjustments without the need to justify them. That freedom is invaluable. Privacy also protects you from the emotional roller coaster that can come with praise and criticism. Both are distractions if you're not grounded. Praise can inflate your ego, making you overconfident before the work is done. Criticism, especially when your idea is still young and delicate, can plant doubt before it ever has a chance to flourish. By keeping your world private, you learn to be your own compass. You stop needing external approval to validate your direction. You learn to trust your instincts, to rely on your own standard of excellence. That self-trust becomes a deep well of power. Privacy is not isolation, it's intention. It doesn't mean cutting off the world completely. It means being selective. Who gets access to your thoughts, your dreams, your fears? Your process. Not everyone should. Not everyone has earned that right, and the more you mature in your personal development, the more you understand that not all relationships are meant to be part of your inner world. Some people are meant to observe your results, not your process. When your mind is clear and your environment is protected, your actions become sharper. Your vision becomes more focused. You begin to move differently, not for show, not for recognition, but for real progress. That's the kind of movement that creates long-term results. That's the kind of discipline that can't be shaken by outside noise. It's rooted, it's quiet, it's effective. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. That need to be seen, acknowledged, applauded, it can drain you. It can shift your focus from building something meaningful to simply being impressive. And when that shift happens, you lose alignment with your purpose. Privacy keeps you aligned. It reminds you why you started. It keeps your motives clean. You're not building for likes. You're building for impact. And impact takes time. It takes consistency. It takes effort that no one may ever see. And that's okay. Clarity is one of the most powerful states a person can achieve. It cuts through confusion. It drives momentum. It makes decisions easier and progress smoother. But clarity doesn't survive in chaos. It needs boundaries. It needs intentional silence. It needs time to form without constant interruption. That's what privacy gives you. It gives you room to breathe, to think, to regroup, and to grow without pressure. There is a profound peace that comes from knowing you don't owe anyone a performance. You don't have to explain where you are in your journey. You don't have to show the behind the scenes. You don't need to keep people updated. You are allowed to disappear for a while, to focus, to evolve, and to return stronger, clearer, and more powerful than ever. And when you do return, it won't be with promises, it will be with proof. Some of the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Some of the greatest comebacks begin in solitude. Some of the most unstoppable people are those who chose to step away from the spotlight to sharpen their edge in private. Not because they had something to hide, but because they had something to protect. Privacy is a gift, one that you give to yourself, one that allows you to build without interruption, to heal without explanation, to grow without distraction. And when the time is right, the results of that quiet work will speak louder than any post, announcement, or caption ever could. You owe it to yourself to create a space where your thoughts are your own, where your energy is undivided, and where your path is determined by your own clarity, not the noise of the crowd. You owe it to your vision to protect it from premature exposure. You owe it to your peace to keep certain things just for you, because in that privacy you will find power. In that clarity you will find direction. And from that silence, something extraordinary will be born. Intentions are important. They are the starting point of every achievement, the spark that lights the fire. But intentions alone do not create change. They do not build businesses, finish books, master skills, or transform lives. What does? Results, tangible outcomes, actions followed through, completed, delivered. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't respond to what you meant to do. It responds to what you did. You can intend to become successful. You can intend to be disciplined. You can intend to change your habits, to make better choices, to live a more fulfilling life. But if your intentions never evolve into results, they remain invisible. They carry no weight. They may feel noble inside your mind, but they leave no mark on the outside world. It's not because your intentions aren't good, it's because intentions alone are never enough. I think about how often people speak about what they want to do. They talk about writing a book, starting a business, getting in shape, improving their mindset. They describe their plans with excitement. They share them with others, sometimes in great detail. And then, nothing. Days pass, then weeks, then months. The plan never becomes a product. The goal never becomes a result. And eventually people stop listening, not because they don't care, but because they've heard it before and seen no follow-through. People may listen to your words once or twice, but over time it's your consistency, your execution, your results that speak the loudest. No one can argue with a finished product. No one can deny a transformation that's visible. No one can dismiss a record of delivered results. Intentions are invisible until you do something with them. Action is what brings them to life. When you produce results, no matter how small, you begin to separate yourself from the crowd. The majority lives in the realm of intention. They talk, plan, dream, and mean well, but they rarely follow through. The few who do, the ones who turn thought into action and action into progress, they stand out, they rise, they inspire. And it's not because they're smarter or luckier or more gifted, it's because they decided to close the gap between what they intended and what they actually did. Results require effort, repetition, discomfort, sacrifice. They demand late nights, early mornings, and long periods of grinding without recognition. That's why so many avoid them. It's easier to live in the world of what you could do. There's no risk of failure there, no exposure, no pressure, but there's also no reward, no growth, no transformation. You don't get fit by thinking about the gym. You don't build a business by talking about your ideas. You don't master a craft by watching others do it. You do it by doing it. You get results by showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because that's when most people quit, and that's when the few who persist begin to create results that speak louder than any words ever could. Your results tell your story. They reflect your priorities. They prove your level of commitment. You can say you want something, but your results will show whether that's true. You can say you're dedicated, but your work will reveal if you really are. You can claim to be focused, but your outcomes will either confirm it or call it into question. This isn't about being perfect or achieving everything overnight. It's about being real, owning your journey, committing to action over talk, understanding that every step forward, no matter how small, moves you closer to the life you want. It's about building a track record of real, visible progress that others can see, and more importantly, that you can feel. There's a confidence that comes from results, not arrogance, not ego, but a quiet strength. When you've done the work, when you've faced the resistance and pushed through, when you've delivered on what you promised yourself, you don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. Your results do that for you. They speak for you in rooms you've never entered. They earn you respect, credibility, and trust. The opposite is also true. When there are no results to show, no progress made, no follow-through behind your words, people eventually tune you out. And worse, you stop believing yourself. Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't, a little piece of your self-trust erodes. Over time, it adds up. That's why keeping your word to yourself, following through, and producing results is so powerful, not just externally but internally. It rebuilds belief. It reminds you that you are capable, that you can rely on yourself, that you are not all talk. It's okay to start small. In fact, it's wise. You don't need to change your entire life in a week, but you do need to take steps. Tiny, consistent steps that stack over time. That consistency is where results are born. It's not about bursts of inspiration, it's about sustained effort. Intentions come and go with your mood. Results come from discipline, from action taken even when you don't feel like it. You're not judged by your dreams, you're judged by your delivery, and while that may sound harsh, it's actually empowering. Because delivery is within your control. You don't have to wait for permission, for perfect timing, for the stars to align. You just have to do one action, then another. That's how mountains are moved. That's how legacies are built. Your job is not to convince others that you're going to be great. Your job is to become great quietly, steadily, consistently. Let others talk. Let others doubt. Let them question. Your results will answer everything in time. And when they do, you won't need to say a word. So stop chasing the approval that comes from promising the future. Chase the satisfaction that comes from building it. Let your life be your statement. Let your effort be your voice. Let your results do the talking. Because in a world full of intentions, those who deliver will always lead. Discipline is choosing to stay the course even when the excitement fades. It's doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said it has left you. Working in silence makes you stronger at that. It eliminates the external rewards and forces you to rely on internal standards. It rewires your motivation. You begin to value integrity over image, commitment over convenience, progress over praise. That quiet, disciplined approach eventually leads to undeniable results. And when those results emerge, they speak for themselves. You won't have to convince anyone of your work ethic, your focus, or your ability. It will be obvious, because while others were posting about their goals, you were achieving yours. While they sought attention, you built something that lasts. And the best part? You'll know that it came from you, not from pressure, not from performance, but from discipline and strength forged in silence. There is a deep satisfaction in living that way, a sense of peace that comes from knowing you are in control of your effort, your mindset, and your direction. That your work is pure, your goals are real, and your strength is built on something solid. You don't need noise to validate your progress. You don't need witnesses to confirm your worth. You are building something far greater than applause. You are building a foundation that no one can see, but everyone will feel. So keep working in silence. Let your consistency become your rhythm. Let your results become your voice. Let your strength speak through your presence. There will be a time to share, a time to shine, a time to show. But for now, let the silence shape you. Let it mold your discipline. Let it refine your focus. And when the time comes, the world will not only see what you built, they'll feel the weight of the work that was done when no one was watching. Working in silence is one of the greatest teachers of discipline and inner strength. It strips away the need for validation, removes the distractions of applause or criticism, and places your focus squarely on the work itself. In a world obsessed with showing progress rather than making it, choosing to operate in silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is a declaration that your purpose is bigger than performance, that your commitment runs deeper than attention, that your strength comes from within, not from the noise around you. Silence tests you. When no one is watching, when no one is cheering you on, when no one is giving you praise, will you still show up? Will you still keep going when the only person who knows your effort is you? That's where discipline is born. That's where it's forged. In the quiet hours, in the moments when giving up is easy, in the absence of external motivation. It's in those moments you either build yourself or betray yourself. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It is steady, quiet, and consistent. It's not driven by moods, emotions, or circumstances. It is a commitment made in silence and kept in silence. When you choose to work in silence, you are choosing the path of internal accountability. You are telling yourself, I don't need someone watching to do what needs to be done. I don't need applause to keep going. I don't need a spotlight to stay consistent. That mindset, cultivated over time, builds a type of strength no one can take from you. There is something sacred about putting your head down and committing to the process without a need to document every step. Every early morning, every late night, every hard choice, every sacrifice you make in silence becomes part of your foundation. You're not doing it for likes or validation, you're doing it for mastery. You're doing it for the person you are becoming. And that is a far more powerful motivation than attention will ever be. Working in silence also sharpens your focus. It removes the mental clutter that comes from constantly thinking about how things appear. Instead, you concentrate solely on the task in front of you. That depth of focus leads to better work. It leads to stronger results. It allows you to stay in the zone longer, to push past resistance, and to refine your process without interference. The more time you spend in that focused silence, the more you develop the discipline to stay locked in, no matter what distractions try to pull you away. Inner strength doesn't come from what others say about you. It doesn't come from praise or recognition. It comes from the quiet confidence that grows when you keep promises to yourself, when you decide to be consistent not for an audience, but because your goals matter to you, when you choose not to broadcast your effort, but to focus it. That internal strength is unshakable. It's not built on perception, it's built on proof. Not external proof, but the kind that only you know. The kind that comes from doing the right thing again and again, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one knows about it. Silence gives you space to grow without judgment. When you work in public, you often feel the pressure to succeed quickly, to show results fast, to meet others' expectations. But when you work in silence, you are free to learn, to fail, to experiment. You are free to build slowly, carefully, intentionally. That freedom is essential for deep growth. It allows you to stay patient, to trust the process, and to stay true to your path. Too often, people chase results to show them off, not because they truly value the result itself. But when you're working in silence, you aren't chasing a performance, you're building something real. You're not trying to prove your worth, you're cultivating it. You're not seeking approval, you're giving your all, because that's who you are. That shift in intention transforms everything. It makes your progress more authentic, your discipline more genuine, and your strength more rooted. You also learn resilience in silence. When things don't go your way, when progress is slow, when setbacks hit hard, no one sees it. There are no sympathy likes, no motivational comments, no external support. It's just you. And that solitude forces you to find strength inside. You become your own motivator. You learn how to keep going without a push. You build mental toughness, emotional resilience, and a relentless mindset. That kind of strength cannot be faked. It's earned. And once you've earned it, no one can take it away. Working in silence teaches you that not everything valuable needs to be shared. Some things are too sacred, too personal, too meaningful to be put on display. Your growth, your breakthroughs, your small victories, they belong to you first. Share them later if you choose to, but let them grow in the dark where they're safe, where they're pure, where they're free from judgment or distortion. Discipline is choosing to stay the course even when the excitement fades. It's doing what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said it has left you. Working in silence makes you stronger at that. It eliminates the external rewards and forces you to rely on internal standards. It rewires your motivation. You begin to value integrity over image, commitment over convenience, progress over praise. That quiet, disciplined approach eventually leads to undeniable results. And when those results emerge, they speak for themselves. You won't have to convince anyone of your work ethic, your focus, or your ability. It will be obvious, because while others were posting about their goals, you were achieving yours. While they sought attention, you built something that lasts. And the best part, you'll know that it came from you, not from pressure, not from performance, but from discipline and strength forged in silence. There is a deep satisfaction in living that way, a sense of peace that comes from knowing you are in control of your effort, your mindset, and your direction. That your work is pure, your goals are real, and your strength is built on something solid. You don't need noise to validate your progress. You don't need witnesses to confirm your worth. You are building something far greater than applause. You are building a foundation that no one can see, but everyone will feel. So keep working in silence. Let your consistency become your rhythm. Let your results become your voice. Let your strength speak through your presence. There will be a time to share, a time to shine, a time to show. But for now, let the silence shape you. Let it mold your discipline. Let it refine your focus. And when the time comes, the world will not only see what you've built, they'll feel the weight of the work that was done when no one was watching. The world celebrates the moment someone wins, the moment they step on stage, sign the deal, break the record, release the product, or share the transformation. But what the world doesn't often see and rarely understands is where that victory was actually forged. It wasn't created in front of a crowd. It wasn't built in the spotlight. It didn't happen when the applause began. The truth is, the greatest victories are often made behind closed doors, in quiet rooms, in lonely hours, in silent battles that no one claps for. Behind every breakthrough is a process full of setbacks, self-doubt, late nights, early mornings, and choices made when quitting would have been easier. It's not glamorous. There are no bright lights or standing ovations when you're sitting alone, staring at a blank screen or rehearsing for the 100th time. But those are the moments that count. Those are the moments that build you, because what you do when no one is watching will always define what happens when they finally do. Victory begins in the decision to try again after failure. It begins in the silence when you ask yourself if you're good enough, and you answer with action instead of fear. It begins in sacrificing distractions, comfort, ease for the sake of growth. These choices happen in private. There's no recognition for them, no celebration. But they are the foundation of every triumph the world eventually sees. Some people only see the result and assume it happened quickly. They think someone got lucky, had a special talent, or was in the right place at the right time. What they don't see is the years of preparation that led to that moment, the failures that taught the lessons, The internal battles fought in silence. The early mornings no one noticed. The consistent practice when motivation was nowhere to be found. Those moments behind closed doors matter more than any public win ever will. The door is closed when you're choosing discipline over distraction. When you're doing one more rep, writing one more line, reviewing one more time. It's closed when you're facing your own mind and refusing to let doubt win. That space becomes sacred. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's real. It's where you face yourself, stripped of performance. There are no masks, no filters, no applause. Just you and the work, and that's where growth happens. Some victories are so deeply personal that they can't be measured by numbers, trophies, or status. The moment someone breaks a toxic pattern, the day they choose to forgive, the hour they finally say, "I'm not giving up on myself." These don't make headlines, but they are monumental. They are victories of the spirit, victories of the soul. They happen behind closed doors and change lives from the inside out. Privacy becomes a power in this journey, because when you're not performing for the world, you can be honest with yourself. You can fail without fear of judgment. You can experiment without explaining. You can be vulnerable without pretending to be perfect. That honesty is what creates real progress. It builds resilience. It builds self-respect. You stop chasing praise and start chasing mastery. You stop seeking validation and start seeking truth. It's behind closed doors that you choose to keep going when it feels like nothing is working. When the results are slow, when the doubts are loud, when the finish line feels invisible. You push through anyway. You learn to rely on your own commitment. You stop needing momentum and start creating it. That's strength. That's character. That's the kind of victory that can never be taken from you. Because it wasn't given to you, it was earned, quietly, relentlessly, privately. And then one day, everything changes. The door opens. The world sees the result. They call it success. They call it talent. They call it brilliance. But you know better. You know what it took to get there. You know the tears, the doubts, the battles they never saw. You know the nights you almost quit, and the mornings you forced yourself to begin again. And that knowing, that is the real victory, because when you've done the work in private, no one can take your win from you. It wasn't built on hype or luck. It wasn't borrowed or inherited. It came from within. From discipline, from courage, from refusing to settle when no one would have blamed you if you did. From pushing forward when no one was watching, and no one would have known if you quit. That's why the journey matters as much as the destination, because who you become behind closed doors is who you really are. That's the version of you that builds the public victory. That's the version of you that no one claps for but should. The quiet fighter. The silent builder. The one who gets up every time life knocks them down, not for the crowd, not for the cameras, but for the person in the mirror. If you're in that private season right now, don't underestimate it. Don't rush it. Don't wish it away. This is where your strength is being built. This is where your future is being formed. Trust it. Respect it. Keep showing up for yourself, because every hour you put in behind that closed door is preparing you for a moment the world will one day see. And when that moment comes, you won't need to explain how you got there. You'll know. And that knowing will be enough, because your victory didn't begin on stage. It didn't begin in applause. It didn't begin when others started to believe in you. It began when you did, in silence, in solitude, in persistence, behind closed doors. So keep going, keep building, keep fighting, even when no one sees you, especially when no one sees you. Because some of the greatest stories, the most powerful transformations, and the most meaningful successes are written in rooms no one else enters until one day they open and the world finally sees what you've known all along. You were never waiting for victory. You were creating it.